Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we are joined by Julie Hughes, founder of Hughes Probate Services and Fiesta Farewell. Julie brings over 25 years of experience supporting families through probate and estate administration, combining real legal expertise with genuine compassion. She's also the creator of Fiesta Farewell, a modern platform helping families plan meaningful, personalized goodbyes. Julia is an award-winning business owner and a judge for the Class Business Awards, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So let's dive in. Julie, it's absolutely amazing to have you here with us today. For those of them that are watching online on YouTube or listening in, tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
So I'm Julie Hughes. I'm based in Rugby in Warwickshire, and I am locally known as the Death Lady. So I deal with probate law, and also I have an online platform for end-of-life planning and funeral planning.
So you're known as the Death Lady. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but obviously you must do very well in what you do for people to be recommending you.
So I'm known locally because whenever people say to me, what do you do? I just say, I do death. It's one of those taboo subjects that nobody really wants to talk about, but actually it's really important. So with the probate side, I actually work with families by going into their homes and helping them throughout the whole probate process. And then on the back of that, with 30 years experience, I set up Fiesta Farewell. And that's an online platform based in Warwickshire and surrounding counties at the moment, which aims to create a platform for people to find that information for end-of-life planning and funeral planning, specifically with those with end-of-life terminal illnesses and wanting to put plans in place to organise their own funerals.
It's such a fascinating topic for me because obviously, first of all, how did you get into this? Like, what did you do beforehand? You worked in law?
I actually started off working in construction. I was a quantity surveyor. I'm not very good on trying to work out areas and maths and, those sort of calculations and algorithms. So I left that industry and started temping, which was something that you did back in the day. And I worked for a big law company, found that I really enjoyed the probate side, applied for a job at a local firm when I was living in Northampton, and started as a secretary. I had the opportunity to train as a paralegal. And then in 2007, I had my boys, and eventually went back into probate law. Oh, crikey, 2014 after I'd had them. And then I set up on my own 5 years ago, using all of the wealth and the experience and the knowledge that I had to be able to really put something together that was for families, for people that wanted the information but didn't really know how to deal with it, or didn't have time to take off work to go into a law firm, or just didn't know how to answer the questions.
So just for everyone that's listening who doesn't know, how does probate work? Like, what is it? How does it work?
So the idea behind the probate is that you have a legal document that allows you as the executors or the administrators, depending on whether there's a will or not, and it allows you to actually deal with the estate. So, for example, if you've got a will in front of you, and if you've made one, you'll know that you appoint people to be the executors. It's their job, if you like, to be able to know where the assets are, how much they're worth, and then use that information to apply for the grant. If there isn't a will, then the rules of intestacy, which are laid down by the law, will tell you who is going to be the administrator, and they have the same role as the executors, but it's just a different terminology. And then the actual grant of probate or grant of representation will allow those people to actually deal with the estate directly, and to collect in the assets, distribute the estate, and finalise it.
So it always has to be done by someone independent?
No, not necessarily. The administrators or the executors are named in a will, or they are named by the rules of intestacy, which goes down through the family. So it could be a spouse, it could be children, grandchildren, siblings, nieces, nephews. There's a whole host of a flowchart that you follow to work out who's going to be the administrators and who's actually going to benefit from the estate. So, it is preferable to make a will because it makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with these things.
Well, just because you're saying that, because I don't actually have a will. So this is why I'm asking these questions.
Oh, Christine, no!
Yeah, I'm married with my husband. I think he's got a will. I don't think I've got one. I definitely haven't got one. And there'll be loads of people who are in the same situation because we're probably, when we're young, we think we're going to live forever, so we don't plan for it, which is why we need people like you, Julie, to help us. So tell us the type of work that you do with people to try and educate them about this.
Well, I mean, I work with a couple of will writers locally, and different firms of solicitors around the country, because what I do is I very much get involved in working with the families and finding out what their needs are, and I can take them through the probate process, which is what I like doing. But if there are contentious matters, so there's a dispute in the family, I have different people around the country that I can recommend to deal with those sorts of things. I have will writers and solicitors locally that can actually help with the documentation for will writing and lasting powers of attorney, which are particularly important when you're looking at end of life planning as well. And I also work with financial advisors, mortgage advisors, insurers, etc., to make sure that people are covered. You've got all of those things to think about, and not everyone knows where to go. So I like to think of myself as a bit of a one-stop shop. You can come to me and I will find you the right people that you need to be able to make your life and your life planning a lot easier.
So when do you recommend people should start, should have a will from then? Because obviously I probably think it's when people have children, they're like, oh, maybe I should be thinking about that. Or is it earlier?
Earlier. I mean, we've got, some 16-year-olds that have got jobs, they've got a car. These are all assets. These are all things that, they may have inheritance, they might have investments. These are all things that, you need to decide where they're going to go to. Over the age of 18, you can make a will, and you can leave it to anybody that you want to. If you were to die without a will at the age of 18 and your parents are still alive, then it would go to your parents, and then down to your siblings. But I recommend that people think about it when they've started to get something. So they've started to get those financial assets in their name. And most young people will have a car, or they might have money in the bank, or they might have been lucky to have inherited some.
Or probably also when they're maybe first buying the first properties and other assets that they're accumulating. I mean,
and that's particularly important today because we've got so many families and parents that want to help their children in buying property. So quite often, you'll get parents that will release some of their money to buy a property for their children to help them get on the ladder. And that's really specific. You really do need to update the wills for both the parents and the child to make sure that you've got all of the eventualities covered should either of them pass away.
This is what I mean about it's such fascinating work because you just live your life, don't you? And you don't really think about this type of stuff until you probably get to a certain age, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should start planning for this, but you still don't unless you're like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I work very closely with a local charity as well. And we specifically help families that are going through childhood cancer. And children are very good at knowing exactly what they want. They're very good at being able to say to their mum, I want a pink coffin, a yellow coffin. I don't want this, I don't want that. But as we get older and become adults, we find it more difficult. Nobody wants to admit that they're going to die. I mean, there's a whole generation behind me that have already decided online what they want. But for some of us, it is so difficult to make those decisions. And I just want to be able to educate people to say, it's okay. It's a horrible subject to talk about. Not everybody wants to do it. But actually, when you think about it, it's going to make the lives for those left behind, so much easier for them.
And how, from a typical probate situation, how long can it take to go through that process? Is it long or is it?
Oh, I love it when people ask me that. I mean, I would generally say for something that's quite simple with a house, a few bank accounts, maybe an investment, you're probably looking at 12 months on average. It does depend very much on the terms of the will, where the assets are, and if there's a property to sell, how long it can take to sell. If there are complications in the estate, such as beneficiaries falling out or somebody wants to make a claim against the estate, then it can take a hell of a lot longer.
I can imagine. And so that's one side of the business you do. And then you've got the other side, which is the planning side for your future. Tell me about that part of the business.
So about 3-4 years ago, I had an idea that I'd put together a leaflet, mostly because my clients were asking me what happens when I die. Who do my family call? Who do they contact? Where's the nearest crematorium, etc. So I thought about it. I visited a couple of funeral shows. Yes, they do exist, and I find them absolutely fascinating, I can assure you. But I wanted to put something together. I realised that a leaflet probably wasn't quite big enough, so it came to a booklet, and then I'm into a website. So about 3 years ago, I had the idea and started thinking about it. I went to a guy that I know, who's a good business owner, a friend, and said to him, I've got this idea. And he was like, this is brilliant. This is really good. This is a great idea. Spoke to a few other people about it. And then at the time, I had a friend of mine who had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she asked me to help plan her funeral. It became quite quickly clear that there wasn't enough local information out there. So I knew that what I was wanting to put together was needed. And before she passed away, obviously she said, you need to carry on with this because people need to know where the local services are. So Fiesta Farewell was an idea that I had. I wanted it to be a celebration of life. I wanted it to be something memorable. Funerals can be very dark. They can be really intense. But actually, more and more people nowadays want to celebrate a life. They don't want to do the whole mourning. We certainly don't wear black for mourning like we used to in the Victorian ages. So I think, people are wanting different ways to celebrate the life of the person that they loved, whether that's family or friends.
You're probably going to laugh at my idea, but for my funeral, I always said to my husband, I want everyone to come as a minion. So they'd be like yellow and purple.
I'll keep this jumper.
Yeah, you wouldn't. And that when the person is like looking out, all they can see is like, and they just couldn't help laughing. So it's like, because I agree with you. I want like a celebration. And it is funny how people have different discussions, because my husband was like, I don't want any of that. Just burn me. And that's it. He doesn't want any of that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, but I want a party.
Well, I've told my husband, and actually I've committed it to a TikTok video, that I would like a sparkly turquoise coffin, please. The more sparkles, the better.
So obviously what you talk, I mean, I'm just imagining you going into a network meeting and someone's like, hello, who are you? And you're like, I'm Julie Hughes, the deaf lady, which is like a line to head out with. So how, I mean, in all seriousness, obviously it's a serious topic, but how do you work with people to make it light-hearted so they can actually like laugh like we are now and plan for our future instead of feeling like, oh, it's doom and gloom?
Or you have to figure out people's perspective on death very, very quickly. I've worked with a chap, and every time I mention shrouds, he shudders and just goes, oh, I can't even think about it. So, you know, I talk to him quite seriously, but I think, you know, when you say, yes, I work in death, they go, oh, okay. Well, that's quite interesting. What do you mean? So I always lead in with, well, I'm a probate lawyer. That's what I started off doing. And now I deal with a lot more of end of life planning and funeral planning from a celebratory point of view. And then people do start talking and asking questions. And it's amazing some of the conversations that I've had from, well, where is the local crematorium to what actually happens when they burn a body, and, you know, everything in between. And I've heard of some bizarre requests over my years in preparing wills as well. One lady I can remember, she said, I want my ashes to be scattered into water. I said, okay, that's fine. And then she rang me up and said, I'd like to change the will so that it goes into a stream of running water, because otherwise I have visions of my children flushing me down the toilet.
Well, this is the BZA. If you're not specific enough, then they will do. But on a serious note, like you've also trained as a grief counsellor as well, because obviously you are dealing with emotion and sensitivity and grief when you're working with clients. What did that involve?
Oh, I did my grief counselling quite a long time ago, and a lot of it now is experience. So I will listen to a client on the phone when they're first looking at making an appointment, and I will ask them, you know, what they want, how they think they need support, and listen to what they perceive they want to be able to achieve. And then I'll add little bits in and ask them questions about whether they want me to be, I generally don't dress particularly professional, because when you're going into someone's home, I'm respecting their space. And I think it's important that they look at me as somebody that's quite normal, easygoing, but professional at the same time. So it's getting that kind of right outlook. So I will always say, look, I'm coming out to see you. How would you prefer me to address you, to be with you? I generally don't come suited and booted. I will be a little bit more casual. But some people prefer the formal professional look, others don't. And I find that the more comfortable, casual, professional look is better than being totally suited and booted and quite rigid. Those are the sorts of families that I am working with.
And does a lot of your business just come from referrals from the work that you've done, that people know you, and is that how it works? Because I'm just trying to work out, how does it work in terms of, you know, you wouldn't go to how do you do all your lead gen, like, because it's such a different type of business, isn't it?
A lot of it is word of mouth, particularly locally, but I also belong to networking groups, and I've got a personality where I'm not afraid to talk about it, so people will ask me the questions, and because it's such an area that people want to know about but don't quite know how to ask, because I'm open about it, a lot of people will say, oh, you need to speak to Julie, because she'll tell you in no uncertain terms exactly what you need to do, what you don't need to do, or what can or can't be done. And And I find that is the best way. So networking, speaking to people locally. When I've done a good piece of work, I always ask people to leave me Google reviews as well. And then I also enter awards as well for the work that I do, and advertise locally as well as further afield. In fact, when I set up on my own 5 years ago, all I had was a Facebook page, and my first client came from Grimsby.
Well, I mean, yeah, everyone's got to start somewhere, haven't they? So, like, every business owner starts with a website page, a Facebook page, and obviously starts from zero and has to build their clients up. And obviously, you're going to be a judge for us in the Class Business Awards. So, first of all, what attracted you to become a judge? Like, why was you like, oh, I want to do this?
I'm really passionate about education, and obviously in the job that I do, it's about educating people to be able to think about their end of life. But also through educating people, we learn so much, and we learn throughout our entire lives. There is no age limit on learning anything. I had a friend of mine that during lockdown at the age of 75 decided to do a degree, came out with a first class honours. It was amazing. So I've also been a local school governor, worked with a local primary school, and I also have an autistic son. So making sure that he's had the right education all the way through and the support that he's needed has been really important to me as well. And I know that the education system is not always easy to navigate. And I also have friends' children that are homeschooled. I see a lot of people coming out of school that haven't got the qualifications that they needed or they wanted due to varying different reasons. And in some cases, SEN has a high proportion to play. So educating adults is very different to educating children. And the people that work in those industries are really special. And I really wanted to be a part of that and see them, hear them, hear the stories. It's all about people again, isn't it? It's all about how they teach, how they are passionate about sharing that knowledge and passing it on.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in our sector, they're out there making that impact every day on children and families' lives and doing amazing things. So is there something particularly that you're going to look for in the applications when you start reading them?
I want to hear a really good story. I want to hear why people are doing what they're doing, because normally there's a reason why people do what they do, particularly in education. If you haven't got a passion to teach, you're not going to teach anybody anything. I'm looking for that extra quality of passion and a story behind that why they're teaching, regardless of who it is, what sector, just looking for that something extra.
Oh, well, you're definitely going to get it, because there'll definitely be some stories to come. I
can imagine. I think it's going to be very difficult. I really do.
Yeah, it's never easy doing the whole judging part. And if people want to connect with you to learn more about what you offer and your services, where's the best place to come and find you?
I'm all over social media. My team makes sure that I'm out there on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I think that's about it. And obviously there's the websites as well. So it's fiestafarewell.com and hughesprobate.com.
I'm just interested to know, what do you talk when you're on TikTok? Like, what's the type of content that you put out there? Is it serious content? Is it having fun? Like, what is it?
It's more information about what we do at Fiesta Farewell, and there is some more fun stuff coming. Apparently, the team have decided that they need more fun in me. So I don't know what they're going to have me doing. Popping out of a coffin, knowing them.
Well, Julie, I know my audience is going to love to meet you in person on the 10th of October at the Class Business Awards.
I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, you've got a lot of knowledge to share and experience. And I know particularly my audience don't plan like this. So I know it's something that I will make sure that I champion and tell them that they really should be thinking about it, including myself.
Yeah, we'll have a chat, shall we, Chrissy?
Yeah, we need to have a chat for sure. But I know it's something that they won't be thinking about, because even just thinking past the teaching cycle of what they're going to do after they can no longer jump around and in halls and stuff and do the stuff is not even there. Do you know, like when you're like, come on, guys, you've got to think longer term. So I know this is going to be really, really valuable to them. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being a judge with us. And I really look forward to seeing you in October.
I'm really excited to be a judge. Thank you so much for having me, and for today as well. I look forward to seeing you in October too.